Hey guys, so today I will be talking about my long-term experiences with the iPhone SE 2020. I bought it like 3 months ago and I have been using it ever since alongside other devices in our review pipeline like the Oneplus Nord and the Galaxy A71. And we know that initially the $400 price tag for the iPhone SE2 made a lot of headlines when it was announced. But like I said in my initial review, this phone is priced way too higher in the Asian markets. Let's just look at the list of prices of the iPhone SE in different regions. In fact, other than the US and some European countries, its retail cost averages to some $550, which does not make it so cheap as Apple would like you to think. Still, I got it as I was very eager to know what this second generation special edition iPhone had to offer. And also, I wanted to know how it stood up against other upper mid-range smartphones in the market. So let's talk all about it in this video after this short message from our sponsor, Asus Mobi Mover. Asus Mobi Mover is a data transfer tool that helps you transfer data from your iPhone or iPad to a computer or another device and vice versa. It's a simple and effective tool that requires only 3 steps for data transfer process. You just have to select and connect the devices, select files you want to transfer, and finally all you have to do is simply click transfer. It's as easy as that. Furthermore, with its technician version, you can unlock iOS screens without a password if you have forgotten the passcode, or you can reset your iPhone altogether. So iPhone users, if you need a one-stop solution to your iOS problems, downloading this software might help ease your misery. For further information, you can check the link given in the description below. So let's pick up things from the design. And one thing that you have to understand is that this phone is not made for someone who likes to have a big device, because it's small, it's compact, and feels great, especially for someone with small hands like me. The aluminum curves gives quite a grip too. As for durability, I use this device quite carefully and haven't come across any scratches. I used it without a case, so it's quite good that this device is durable enough to handle my usage. Also, it is IP67 rated, so I haven't had to worry about the drizzles in Kathmandu this time around. But one thing I've noticed is that the display becomes completely unresponsive when it's drenched in water. But the usability aside, something that has disappointed me is that this is not a trendy looking design. And I know that most of you would agree with me on this. It has borrowed the looks from 2017's iPhone 8, which is uninspiring from a brand like Apple. I do understand the choice, as using the same old design makes the manufacturing process easy for the company, as it saves you engineering man-hours. But when you're launching a product in a different price category and competing against other Android mid-range smartphones, Apple should have given us a design overhaul just to make matters a little bit more interesting at the least. My suggestion, maybe get rid of the Touch ID and those bulky bezels. Make the display a little bigger with a trendier aspect ratio while maintaining the same form factor. I wouldn't have even cared if it had a plastic back, to be honest. With this, I actually don't know what Apple is going to do in terms of the design in next year's iPhone SE. So, with the mere 16:9 aspect ratio screen on this year's iPhone SE, watching videos was not that great of an experience for me. Even while watching videos on Facebook, 9:16 videos cover up the entire screen, which looks a little weird. And the cons for a smaller display do not quite end there. When you're browsing the web, you will have to be very careful not to click the wrong link if they are placed very close to one another. In terms of the sheer quality though, the iPhone SE 2020 has an HD panel, but it looks quite good. It's bright and has good color accuracy, so no complaints on that side. Having said that, I would go for the 90Hz AMOLED panel on the Oneplus Nord any day of the week if I had to choose. But you know where the iPhone SE 2020 shines the brightest. Yes, it's the performance department. The A13 bionic chipset practically beats almost all the phones in that price range, and with a good margin too. I have installed so many apps in here and I am yet to record even a single instance where I noticed the slightest of lags under both the normal and demanding usage. So I am very impressed with its performance. Also, the gaming on this phone is stellar. It is not a complete package like other Android alternatives with an AMOLED screen and a smoother display, but when it comes to pushing the FPS in the highest of settings, this is the phone to have. In reality, its gaming performance is even better than the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, which is one of the most expensive phones of 2020. With PUBG Mobile, you can push to extreme frame rates with HDR graphics and still get respectable smooth performance, whereas the max you can go on the Oneplus Nord is HD graphics coupled with high frame rates. However, it is a real shame that everything is squeezed in this small display wherein you won't have a lot of space between controls, making it a bit uneasy during your gaming sessions. But the cherry on top is the iOS 13 that the iPhone SE runs on. If you are someone who uses apps like Facebook Pages Manager, Ads Manager, or Instagram, they run better on an iPhone. Apple is also famous for its years of software updates on its products. Even with the original iPhone SE from 2016, it's still running the latest iOS 13.7 update that came out just a couple of days ago. So that is something. But with an outdated design and a small display, I think with every iteration of an update, new features will be limited on the iPhone SE. Like with the upcoming iOS 14, you definitely won't be able to enjoy the picture-in-picture feature or the cool widgets on a screen this small. While we're talking about performance, the stereo speakers here have colored me impressed for a long time now. They are definitely one of the best things about this device. Okay, now let's get to how the cameras have held up. As we know, it's got a single 13 megapixel camera at the back and a 7 megapixel shooter at the front. And the best thing about the rear camera is the fact that it produces such natural colors. I have especially loved shooting images of flowers from this phone because most of the other phones like the Oneplus Nord or the Galaxy A71 bring out a bit saturated colors. Other than the colors, the images are fairly sharp and have good dynamic range. Also, I love the fact that the autofocus on this device works incredibly well. However, the nighttime images are not that impressive when comparing it with Nord, as it brings out better exposure and detailed pictures. What's worse is that there is no dedicated night mode on the iPhone SE either. And despite receiving a few updates, Apple has not improved the selfie department. The phone brings out a little weird brown tone on my face, which does not look so good. Portraits are okay though. Here the subjects look a bit dark, but other than that, things are pretty balanced and edge detection is okay too. But the best thing about the iPhone SE 2020 cameras is videos, as you can get good quality and stabilized recordings even at 4K 60 FPS. Having shot a lot of videos from the SE, I can definitely vouch for it being one of the best cameras for vlogging in the upper mid-range price segment. Overall, the rear camera on the iPhone SE 2020 is quite reliable and consistent for photos as well as videos. The shutter speed is quite excellent and images generally do not come out blurry. What's next? Yes, the battery. And as expected, it's pretty bad for a heavy user like me. And the caveat here once again is the design. As Apple has used the same chassis as the iPhone 8, it cannot fit in a bigger battery here. Hence, the iPhone SE is probably one of the least enduring phones I have reviewed in a while. A few sessions of PUBG, an hour of YouTube and social media, and that's all the screen time I got. On heavy usage, I've had to charge the phone even in midday. But unlike Samsung phones, it gives a good standby time. Yet, that by no means covers up for the poor endurance. Similarly, you get a 5-watt charger inside the box. I am using my 12-watt iPad charger, so I did not have to buy a separate fast charger. But if you want to buy an iPhone SE 2020 right now, you will have to add some $30 to $40 more to the already excessive pricing, which is quite ridiculous if you ask me. So that was all for my long-term experiences with the iPhone SE 2020. Having used this phone for 3 months now, my impression about this device remains unchanged from my initial review. The iPhone SE 2020 is a stellar phone for $400 in the Western market. But for buyers in regions like Asia, it is priced exorbitantly and there are so many Android alternatives to choose from too. But still, I do understand the sentiments of Apple fans and someone who has been using Apple products. At the end of the day, I strongly feel that you should give the Oneplus Nord a try for someone who's looking for a good iPhone SE 2020 alternative. In Nepal, it's like 17,000 cheaper compared to Apple's second generation iPhone SE. Or if you want a more powerful phone, you can go for the OnePlus 8, which has the Snapdragon 865, a gorgeous display and an excellent battery life with a little extra cash. So that was all for this video. Next up, we're coming up with a comparison of the iPhone SE 2020 with the OnePlus Nord. Do let us know in the comments if you would like to see that. Till then, I'm Pratima Adhikari and I'll see you in the next one.